Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for hopping in for the One Fun Guy. A few things, guys. I just wanted to let you guys know that I am working on a new platform to go live on. I haven't quite determined if I'm going to stick with it or if I'm just going to kind of play around with it for right now. There are a few things that I wanted to talk about. The big announcement, number one, is I don't want to make it official, but I'll say it without making it official. It'll happen tomorrow. But I was invited to go on another podcast. So I'm super, super excited. I'm brand new to the game myself, and I've only been doing this now for about 2.5 weeks. And I was invited to be a guest on somebody else's podcast. So I'm super stoked. I think it's going to be a great experience. And I think it's going to give me a lot of insight on how to go about having discussions and conversations with people. So I think that from a learning experience and a growing experience, I'm super, super excited to do it. I will fill you in on the dates and times when we have them nailed down, but it should be next week sometime. So that's kind of the big announcement. The second little announcement, again, is the platform I'm using. I'm trying to switch things up. Again, Facebook is what it is. It's what I use now. It's not the greatest, and it's not really quite ideal, but it works. So I'm using it for what I have. So once I get grounded and I have a good base going, I think what I'm going to do is try the next step up. I'm not sure how it works. Crystal, as you guys know, is kind of helping me out with a lot of the technical stuff that's been going on, but I think the platform I'm going to use is going to be a good one. So that I'm hoping to get done between the end of this week and the end of next week. So that's kind of where my goal is, to kind of go in the middle of things that are basically happening now. So with that being said, the issues that I'm having, guys, is I don't really want to flood social media with all of the I don't know how to even say it, but like the post, I guess, or the pins and comments and things like that, with what's going on repeatedly. I try to do maybe 1 or 2 a day, but I don't want to be like flooding everything with what's going on. So it's easier for me to come on and go live and kind of just say what's happening versus trying to make 10 posts that make sense in a kind of an order, because they don't always get out in the order that you send them. So for me, it's just easier to go on, say hi to everybody, thank everybody for coming, on. Thank you for subscribing to the show, for liking, following, doing all this stuff. It really, really helps me out to be able to do that. So that's kind of the first thing. The second thing is going to be the platform. And then the third thing in conjunction with all of that is I'm currently working on a logo. Not that the generic cartoony memoji isn't great, but for what is happening for that kind of stuff is I just kind of want to make the logo and a graphic something that kind of sticks out as opposed to just a memoji. Not that it works. I mean, it's cool. I don't know. You guys can kind of maybe see it in the back. That's kind of what it is right there, which is fine. I mean, that was good, but I kind of want to be more professional in this and how I go about doing this. So I kind of want to get like less cheese, if that makes sense. It's all new to me. Like I said, everything I've done has basically been basic editing software, stuff like that. It's nothing's too, kind of over the top, but as I'm growing and I kind of want to do more and more stuff. So my next guest for Friday night at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time is going to be Matt Thayer. He's a college friend of mine, and he has got kind of an amazing background story that is going to be one for the ages. I'm going to let him do most of the talking. He has a phenomenal story. The stuff he did after college is kind of like, what people aspire to do at a level that he was at, which is kind of awesome, and what he did in his field. So I don't really want to go into much detail about it. I know some people have been asking, like, well, what does he do now? How do you know him? Those are all questions I can answer. But as far as the backstory goes, that's for him to tell. It's an awesome story. So that'll be next Friday at 7. And then the podcast that I'm going to be on, I believe, is going to be next Friday as well. But like I said, I will narrow down those dates tomorrow for a specific day and time. I believe it's going to be Friday, but I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too early, because if something needs to change or something happens, I don't want to say, well, it was this day at this time, and then hit the brakes and be like, no, wait, it's going to be this day and this time. So I'll wait till we iron everything out, but that will happen next week. And it should be Friday. So I will let you guys know all about that. Is when I know about it, we'll go from there. Again, I really appreciate you guys liking and following, my lives, all my posts. It super, super helps me out. So that is much appreciated. Another thing I wanted to touch on too, I know I kind of did it real quick last week when I followed up with my live, but if there's some things that you guys want me to do that I can change myself, so my tone or how I go about speaking into the camera or my mic setup or stuff like that, I could easily change that. If there's something that I'm doing, if I'm moving around too much, or kind of maybe not focused on something that I should have been on, you guys can definitely let me know. Drop me a message. Hit me up on my email. It's onefunguypodcast@gmail.com. You guys can let me know. Any of that stuff would be awesome. The things that I can't change right now are like my background. Like some people said, why do you have cabinets behind you? Well, I'm in my basement and it's a spare room. I don't really have much of a studio setup, but it works for me. It's a very compact area. The sound is actually really, really good. The lighting is superb. So that kind of stuff is kind of out of my control as far as like what's behind me and how I go about that. That's going to happen later. I promise it won't be this same background. But for now, if there's anything that I can do to make the podcast better, or if there's more specific questions you want me to ask or more concerns, like I said before, it's a conversation style podcast. So I don't really want to have like an interview style where it's like I'm asking, I just kind of want to let it flow normally. Like I said before, if you haven't heard of Vigilance Elite and Sean Ryan, he's kind of my guy as far as who I'm kind of emulating my podcast off of. Obviously, his production is phenomenal. There's a few others that I watch regularly, so I try to take bits and pieces, but I don't want to take, I probably listen to about 100 podcasts and I probably watch about 50 podcasts, but it's too many. I don't want to take things from each one. So Sean Ryan's kind of the guy that I kind of basing my show off of. Obviously, if you get a chance to check it out, it's Vigilance Elite. The Sean Ryan Show. He's on YouTube. He's got a ton of followers, and it's an incredible show. Andy Stump with the Queered Hot podcast is another one that I watch pretty on the regular. So a lot of the stuff that, are like topics that he talks about is kind of like what I try to emulate on my show. Again, those are just two of the examples that I'm using. There's, like I said, a bunch of podcasts that I watch and listen to, but I don't want to keep taking from all of them. I just want to kind of take from like 2 or 3 at the most and kind of go from there. I did mention last week's show, Jack Carr. If any of you guys are fans of The Terminal List on Amazon, he wrote those books. Jack Carr does an awesome podcast as well. But I like his style because he does the split screen with his guests that aren't in studio. Most of what Sean Ryan and Andy do is they bring guys into their studio, and obviously they have enough money to fly everybody in and kind of take care of them that way. But I like Jack Carr's setup because he does the split screen, which is really kind of cool. Again, he has professional editors and all that kind of stuff, so his videos are smooth and seamless. Mine, unfortunately, are not. This is kind of what you get. It's live in the raw. So as things unfold, they unfold. You're going to catch everything, which is kind of cool. I don't mind that happening, but at the same time, I would like to have a little bit more professionalism, if that makes sense. But again, the support has been phenomenal. again, I'm new to this, so everything that I'm doing now is a giant learning curve on the way up. I've made probably hundreds of mistakes, and I'm probably going to make 100 more. But every time I just try to fix one of those mistakes, tweak it a little bit so I don't kind of do it again. That's kind of been my motto at this point. So like I said, it's much easier for me to come on camera, even if it's just for 10 or 15 minutes, to kind of tell you what's going on, as opposed to typing out message after message after message of what's happening. So this is just easier for me. So I hope it's easier for you to hop on and just kind of watch a little glimpse of what's happening. I really kind of, for me, it's just easier to do. So with that being said, I don't want to make this video super long. Again, Matt Thayer is going to be my guest next Friday night at 7 o'clock. That'll be a really, really fun one. I have very, very few friends that are like family to me. I can name them pretty much on one hand, and he is definitely one of them. James is, I saw his name pop up on here. It's hard to see the comments on where the platform I'm at, because I kind of have them blown up and they're all over, but James would be another one. My last guest, Paul, would be another one. So you kind of see where I'm going with this as far as the guests that I have on the show. Now, I have, like I said before, about 75 names so far of people that I want on the show. I have 9 confirmed. It should be 10 and 11 and 12 going on between the next week and the next week. So that's kind of good. If you want to be a guest on the show, just shoot me a message and say, hey, I'd be interested in being on your podcast, and I'll add you to the list. I don't forget about everybody. I have everybody written down. Or if you know somebody who you think might be a good guest, it doesn't matter what their what their career path is. It doesn't matter what, anything that they're doing now. If you think they have a story that needs to be heard, I would love to have them on the show and talk to them. That's kind of where I'm going with this. So if you think, hey, I have a cousin who did this, this, and this, he'd be awesome. As long as he feels comfortable hopping on and just, kind of talking like this for an hour or so, that would be great. Not everybody's going to want to do it. I've reached out to a few friends and they're like, yeah, it's just not for me. I don't really want to do it. No problem. We'll go to the next one. So if you have anybody that you think, again, send me a message on Facebook. You can even respond to one of the posts that I have. That's fine. I read pretty much every one of them. The One Fun Guy Podcast at gmail.com is my Gmail account. You can email me there. There's plenty of ways to get a hold of me. If there's, like I said, if there's anybody that you think would be, a good guest or wants to be on, or you want to yourself, awesome. Like I said, for now, this is just for fun, guys. I enjoy having conversations with people. Again, it's kind of the way that it starts with just about anything, I guess, is you have all your friends and family on and they kind of fill up the spots. And then as you go from there, other people will hop on and it'll kind of just, hopefully snowball into something, really, really awesome, which is what I'm hoping happens. It hasn't been easy. It's a lot of work. And I knew that was going to be the case going into it. So I'm not really familiar with waking up every morning and checking all my messages. I really don't ever do that. I just kind of, when I get around to it, but now I make it a point to make sure what I'm doing makes sense, that the posts I'm making are in order, that everything's spelled right. That's a big one. I know, I don't know if you guys can relate to it, but I get annoyed when somebody puts out a post and there's like grammatical errors. Like, we all make them. We're all human. We all make mistakes, but it just kind of irks me when it's like, they misspell a word or like the sentence structure is off. I don't know why. It bugs me. I wish I could just kind of get around it, but it's just one of those things where it's like, take 10 seconds and proofread it and make sure that it just makes sense. But whatever. I mean, to each their own. I know you can schedule posts. I get that, but I kind of like doing it in the now, because if something comes into my head, I jot it down and then I'm like, oh, that'll make a good post, or that'll make, a good. So that's kind of how I do it. So I don't really need to pre-schedule anything, because there's nothing really to pre-schedule. I'm kind of on the fly. When I get an idea, I just pop it out. I pretty much post daily on when my show is going to be coming up, and then when I figure out who my next guest is and what time works for them, then I put it out. So it's super easy. So it works for me. That's how I'm doing it, and I'm comfortable doing it that way, and it's fun for me. That is kind of it in the nutshell, guys. So I will let you know who the person that I'm in, that I'm going to be a guest on their show next week, when we actually confirm it, which is going to be tomorrow. Again, I'm super excited. But like I said, if anybody knows anybody or wants to be a guest on the podcast themselves, I've had 2 episodes out. Crystal was number 1. Paul was number 2. Matt's going to be number 3. So you can kind of see the style of it and how I go about it. It's really just an informal conversation. And it's just fun. I enjoy doing it, so it's not really work for me. I just really like hanging out and talking to people. So it's super easy for me. The hard work is all the other stuff, the editing, the post, all that kind of stuff is difficult because I'm not used to it. But I don't mind it. It's been fun. I hope you guys are getting something out of this. I obviously I need an audience to watch me, or else I would just be talking to myself. So I'm really appreciative of everybody tuning in, and hopefully you can get something out of an episode, or if you want me to discuss something on a future episode. I know Paul texted me today and was like, hey, listen, we had an hour and it really wasn't long enough. I wish I can come back on and talk for another hour. I'm like, you got it. I was like, down the road, I'll have Paul back on and we'll talk for another hour or however long. The new platform I'm planning on going to, I don't think there's really much of a time limit. So if I go over the hour, it's really not a big deal. I know with Facebook, they kind of limit time frames from what I've heard and all the research I've done. I don't know how true that is. It may or may not be the case. I don't know. But I usually kind of limit my show to about an hour, and then I kind of cut it at that. So, again, thank you all for, joining in, for liking and following, at YouTube, the One Fun Guy podcast. So it's at @1_fun_guy_podcast. If you just YouTube One Fun Guy, I've had all my buddies try it. I pop up. I might not be the first one, but I'm like in the top 3 or 4 of those searches. I am in the process right now. I started my trademark on the podcast. So I'm in the process now of actually getting it legal to where I am. So I am quote unquote locked in for the One Fun Guy podcast. So nobody else should be able to use that name right now, but I'm pretty much gonna it should be finalized, hopefully by the end of the month. I don't know how long that takes, but I pretty much have to submit my stuff to the state. The state gives me a thumbs up. They run it through the National Trademark Registry, and if the name's not taken, which I don't think it is, then One Fun Guy is officially me. So as of right now, I'm locked in as that. I'm like I said, I'm in the process of really trademarking it so it's official. But I already started the paperwork. That's what's in the frame back there. That was like one of the first things I did. All the names that I was looking at for everything that I thought would be cool was already taken. So I kind of had to go outside of the box a little bit, and One Fun Guy wasn't. It worked for me, and I was like, that's what I'm sticking with. So that's pretty much how that happened. So that was it in a nutshell. So everything's kind of moving along. Like I said, it's all new to me. A lot of the stuff that I have is borrowed equipment from Crystal, stuff that she just wasn't using. I'm like, hey, can I snag that? She's like, sure. So it made it easier for me. I didn't have to really do a whole lot to get on. I saw Justice pop on and Mike popped on, and I think Mike and Leah both popped on earlier. So sorry, guys. The lag is real. And the names only pop up, and I don't really get to see much on it, so it's kind of weird the way I have it set up. I am using a different phone than my normal phone because I don't want this thing to go off while I'm live. So I have an older phone. It's still newer, but it's just an older model. But I'm using that as my quote-unquote camera just so nothing happens in the things. But it's just weird the way it's set up because it's not like the new iPhone is. It's different and weird, but it works. So but like I said, guys, if there's anything I can do differently, please. I like the critiques. I like the even criticisms. If I'm doing something that annoys you, or you're like, stop doing that, then I could do that. Again, with the background, this will change soon. It's just what I'm working with. So again, I appreciate the, hey, something back there would be cooler. I agree. I'm working on some ideas. But for right now, that's what I have. So that's really all I have, guys. So like I said, I didn't want to make this super long. It's just easier for me to come on and explain everything that's going on than to try to put it in post that might get all messed up. So the podcast I'm going to be a guest on will be next week. I will put that out as soon as I find out dates and times tomorrow. And then Matt for sure will be at 7:00 p.m. Central Standard Time on Friday night. He'll be my third guest, and that'll be episode 3. So we're rocking and rolling. Everything is good. I really appreciate, like I said, guys, all the love and support. The likes, the follows, the shares really help me out. So if you can do that, if you can hop over to YouTube and pretty much give me a subscribe on YouTube. That's really the platform I want to use. Obviously, that would be phenomenal, but I'm just a little fish in a gigantic sea. So it's a start. I started, and that's what I'm doing. So I'll see this thing through. I'm not going anywhere, but I appreciate, like I said, all the love and support. It really means a lot to me. And so if you could, like I said, just give me the all the likes in the world, all the shares, and all the follows would be fantastic. And then I will see you guys next week. I will either maybe pop on tomorrow or Monday and finalize the podcast I'm going to be on next week, or I'll at least just put it in a post and I'll pin it for sure. But I might just hop on and give a little bit more information, just because, like I said, it's easier for me to do that than it is to type all this out and sporadically send out messages. So with that being said, thank you guys again so much. It really means the world to me. This is going to be something that I plan on doing for a very, very long time. So again, if you're interested in being a guest, or you know somebody who wants to be on, just shoot me a message and we'll go from there. I appreciate all the love and support, guys. Again, it really means the world to me, and I will talk to you later. Enjoy your Saturday night, guys. Have fun, and we'll see you soon.